The late afternoon sun bathed Miller County in a golden haze, the kind of warmth that made you want to linger just a moment longer. Ethan Harper, the chief of police, was savoring one of those rare quiet days. No urgent calls, no crises demanding his attention, just him and his 8-year-old son, Liam, cruising through town in their SUV. Liam, curls damp from gym class, sat in the back, happily slurping a grape popsicle, his sneakers swinging to a tune only he could hear. Ethan glanced at him in the rear view mirror, a faint smile tugging at his lips. These moments, simple and fleeting, were what he lived for. They had one stop to make before heading home, Miller's Market, a small, family-owned grocery store where Ethan knew the owner and felt the comfort of familiarity. The parking lot was busier than expected for a midweek afternoon, cars crammed into tight rows. Ethan circled once, then spotted a space near the entrance, nestled between a beat-up sedan and a gleaming black Escalade that looked like it belonged in a music video. The Escalade was parked sloppily, its rear end hogging part of the neighboring spot, but Ethan maneuvered carefully, aligning his SUV with precision. He wasn't one to make a fuss, even in jeans and a hoodie, his badge tucked away at home. "All good?" he asked Liam, who nodded, grape syrup staining his grin. Ethan adjusted the AC, cracked the rear window, and stepped out, locking the door with a soft click. He'd be in and out in 5 minutes. As he walked toward the store, something made him glance back. The Escalade's tinted windows and chrome rims screamed attention, but no one was inside. Maybe it belonged to someone who thrived on making an entrance, the kind who posted about reviewing their truth online. Ethan shrugged it off. This was Miller County, not a place where people started wars over parking. Or so he thought. Inside the store, he grabbed a gallon of milk and a loaf of bread, oblivious to the woman in the produce aisle, sharp blonde bob, sunglasses perched like a tiara, lips pursed in a scowl. She'd watched him pull in, her eyes narrowing at the way his tire kissed the faded line. To her, it was an insult, a challenge. Clutching a grapefruit-sized rock from the store's landscaping display, she stormed toward the exit, her cart abandoned, her fury locked on Ethan's SUV. Outside, the air had shifted, a sharp breeze cutting through the spring warmth. Ethan emerged from the store, groceries in hand, when he saw her. She stood inches from his passenger door, her athletic jacket zipped tight, one hand on her hip, the other gripping the jagged rock. Her posture was rigid, her face half hidden by oversized sunglasses, but the tension in her shoulders was unmistakable. Ethan froze, expecting a note or a glare, not this. Then, without a word, she reared back and hurled the rock. The windshield shattered with a sickening crack, glass splintering like a frozen pond under a hammer. The sound ripped through the lot, sharp as a gunshot. Ethan's heart stopped. Liam was inside. The milk hit the pavement, bursting open in a white flood. Ethan sprinted to the car, adrenaline surging, his throat tight. "Liam!" he shouted, yanking the door open. His son's wide, terrified eyes met his through the cracked windshield, his hands clutching the popsicle stick like a lifeline. Tears streaked his face, but he was unhurt. Ethan's relief was fleeting, replaced by a cold, searing rage as he turned to the woman. She stood there, arms crossed, her expression not of shock or regret but smug satisfaction. "You parked too close," she said, her voice dripping with entitlement, as if that justified everything. Ethan's mind reeled, searching for sense in the senseless. "You threw a rock at a car with a kid inside," he said, his voice low, barely containing the fury. She scoffed, unfazed. "You were over the line. Next time, think before you box someone in." The audacity hit him harder than the rock. People were gathering now, phones out, whispers spreading. A couple paused with their cart, a teenager filmed from a distance. The woman's confidence didn't waver, she was in control, or so she thought. Ethan's training kicked in, his voice steady despite the storm inside. "Stay right where you are. You just committed a felony." She laughed, a sharp, mocking sound. "Felony? You're not even a cop." She had no idea. Ethan pulled out his phone, eyes never leaving her, and made a call not to 911, but to the precinct's direct line. The crowd grew, the air thick with tension. The woman, sensing the shift, pulled out her own phone, its glittery case flashing as she went live. "This man threatened me!" she cried, her voice climbing, theatrical. "He parked aggressively, came at me, a woman alone." The lie was so bold, so practiced, it stunned the onlookers. Murmurs rippled, some doubted, others wavered. She spun, filming the crowd, her voice trembling for effect. "Someone call the police! I don't feel safe!" Ethan didn't flinch. He'd seen this before, narratives twisted, truth buried under performance. He checked on Liam, who hugged himself in the back seat, eyes wide. "You're okay," Ethan whispered, then faced her again. She was still filming, still lying, certain she'd won. But Ethan had already set the wheels in motion. Sirens wailed, faint at first, then louder. A cruiser pulled in, lights flashing, slicing through the crowd's murmurs. The woman's eyes lit up, saw her chance. She ran toward the officers, arms flailing, voice pitched to hysteria. "Officers! He's dangerous! He threatened my life!" Two young officers stepped out, hands near their belts, scanning the scene. Then they saw Ethan. Recognition hit like lightning. "Chief Harper," the taller one said, his hand dropping from his radio. The woman's words choked off mid-sentence. "Chief?" she stammered, her sunglasses slipping. Ethan nodded, calm but unyielding. The second officer stepped between them, his voice firm. "Ma'am, stay where you are." Her confidence cracked. "He intimidated me," she insisted, but the officer cut her off. "We'll hear from the chief and the witnesses." Witnesses. The word landed like a gavel. The crowd's phones were still rolling, a woman with crossed arms nodding, a teenager mouthing, "We saw it." The woman's face paled as reality hit. She wasn't the VY Tim here. Ethan spoke, his voice cutting through the chaos. "Bag the rock she threw. Check the dash cam, it's a department vehicle. Everything's recorded." The officers nodded, one already MOVYing. The woman's bravado crumbled. "This is insane," she sputtered. "He parked wrong. I felt unsafe." Ethan's gaze was steel. "You felt unsafe, so you threw a rock at a car with a child inside?" she faltered. "I didn't know he was there. I just wanted to make a point." "You made one," Ethan said. "It's going in the report." The officer pulled out handcuffs, the metallic snap silencing her protests. "Ma'am, you're under arrest for criminal mischief, filing a false report, and endangering a minor." The crowd watched, some filming, others whispering. No one cheered, just a quiet, collective nod to justice. She turned to Ethan, pleading now. "You don't have to do this. I didn't know you were the chief." Ethan's voice was calm, final. "You just didn't care." The cuffs clicked shut, and the officer began her rights. "You have the right to remain silent." Her denials faded as she was led to the cruiser, the doors shutting with a thud. Ethan exhaled, the weight easing slightly. The crowd dispersed, a mother offering a silent nod, a firefly blinking in the dusk. That night, Ethan sat on his porch, Liam curled beside him under a blanket. The boy broke the silence. "Dad, was she a bad guy?" Ethan paused, the day's chaos replaying. "She made a bad choice," he said. "A dangerous one. And when you hurt people, there are consequences." Liam nodded, leaning closer. "I'm glad you were there." Ethan ruffled his hair. "Me too." By morning, the story exploded online. Clips of the confrontation, the badge reveal, the cuffs went viral, captioned with "instant karma" and, finally, accountability. News outlets picked it up, Ethan's phone buzzing with messages. But he didn't engage. It wasn't about fame or revenge. It was about the line clear, unyielding, that no one, not even a woman with a rock and a tantrum, could cross without consequence. And for Liam, who'd seen it all, it was a lesson in justice, drawn not with anger, but with truth.